Imagine a world with no fire, not just no campfire, no warmth, no light, no cooked food, no protection from predators after dark, just you, the night, and every animal that evolved specifically to hunt in complete darkness. This was the reality for early humans for hundreds of thousands of years. Before fire, the night was not survivable alone. When the sun went down, humans found the deepest cave they could, pressed themselves against the rock, and waited, just waited. For dawn, for survival, for another day. Think about what that actually meant. 2/3 of every single day was essentially lost, unusable, dangerous. The darkness belonged to lions, hyenas, leopards, animals with eyes built for the night. Humans had none of those advantages. We were slow, we were visible, we were warm-blooded and easy to track. The night was not ours, and the cold. In Ice Age Europe 50,000 years ago, temperatures dropped to levels that would kill a modern human without shelter and clothing within hours. No fire meant no warmth. No warmth meant staying alive through winter was a daily miracle. Then one night, everything changed. Not because a human planned it. Not because someone sat down and decided to invent something. It happened the way all the greatest things in human history happen, by complete accident, in a moment of terror. It starts with lightning. A bolt hits a dry tree on the edge of the forest. The tree explodes into flame, and a small group of prehistoric humans watching from a rocky hillside see something they have never seen before in their lives. Something that moves, something that eats, something that roars and spreads and destroys everything it touches. Their first reaction is not curiosity. It is pure animal terror. Every instinct they have screams the same thing: run. And they run, because fire in the wild is not beautiful. It is not warm and inviting. It is a wall of destruction moving through dry grass at the speed of wind, consuming everything, leaving nothing but ash and silence. But here is the fascinating part. They do not run forever. Anthropologists and evolutionary biologists studying our closest primate relatives have found something remarkable. Chimpanzees, when confronted with a controlled fire, initially flee, but then they stop, they turn around, and they watch. Something in the primate brain, something ancient and curious, overrides the fear just enough to make them look back. Early humans did the same. They ran, then they stopped. Then slowly, over hours, they crept back toward the dying edges of the fire. Not close, not touching, just watching. The flames lower now, the roar quieter, the destruction settling into something smaller and stranger. And they noticed something else. Animals were fleeing the fire too. Some did not make it. At the edges of where the fire had burned, there were bodies. Cooked bodies. And the smell of cooked meat drifting across the cold night air, was something no human nose had ever encountered before. Something that triggered every hunger response in their brains simultaneously. Someone ate first. We do not know who. We do not know when exactly. But someone, at some point, reached into the ash at the edge of a natural fire and ate cooked meat for the first time in human history. And it tasted unlike anything that had ever existed before. Eating cooked food was one thing, but someone had to get closer to the fire itself. And this is the moment that took the longest. Not years, not decades, generations. the slow creep of curiosity overcoming terror across hundreds of human lifetimes. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans were using naturally occurring fires opportunistically for at least 400,000 years before they learned to create fire themselves. They would find the remnants of lightning fires, volcanic activity, or spontaneous combustion in dry grass. They would approach carefully. They would take what they could, cooked animals, warmth, protection, and leave when the fire died. But at some point, someone had a different thought. What if we did not leave when it died? What if we kept it? The first person to pick up a burning branch was not being brave. They had no concept of what they were doing or why. They burned their hand almost certainly. They dropped it. But something made them pick it up again. Maybe it was the warmth on a freezing night. Maybe it was watching the darkness outside the dying fire's edge and knowing what was out there. Maybe it was simply the same curiosity that makes humans reach for anything bright and strange and new. They carried that burning branch back to their group, and every person there felt the same thing. Terror first, then wonder, then something that had no name yet, but would eventually become the feeling humans get when they understand that everything is about to change. Here is what nobody tells you about the discovery of fire. The discovery was not the hard part. Keeping it alive was. Early humans could not make fire. Not yet. That technology, striking flint against iron pyrite to create a spark, or friction methods using a wooden bow drill, would not be mastered for tens of thousands of years after fire was first used, which means that every fire early humans had came from somewhere else, from lightning, from volcanoes, from other natural sources. And once you had it, losing it was catastrophic, not inconvenient, catastrophic. If your fire went out on a winter night in Ice Age Europe, people died. Simple as that. So early humans developed something extraordinary, a firekeeper. Someone in the group whose primary responsibility was to never let the fire go out, to watch it constantly, to feed it small sticks when it grew low, to cup their hands around it in the wind, to carry glowing embers carefully wrapped in bark or packed in clay or bone when the group moved to a new location. This was possibly the first specialized role in human society. Not a hunter, not a gatherer, a keeper, someone whose entire value to the group was the preservation of one thing. And the psychological weight of that responsibility, knowing that every sleeping person around you was alive because of your attention, must have been unlike anything humans had felt before. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham argues in his landmark work that the control of fire did not just change what humans ate or how warm they were, it changed who we were. Cooking food made it easier to digest, releasing more calories, allowing our brains to grow larger over generations. The campfire created a gathering point that restructured social life. The protection fire provided from predators allowed deeper, longer sleep. We became, literally, a different species because of fire. So imagine the first night, the real first night, not a dying natural fire stumbled upon by accident, a fire that a human carried, placed, fed, and controlled, a fire that belonged to them. The darkness falls, and for the first time in the history of the human species, the darkness does not win. The predators are still there. You can see their eyes at the edge of the firelight, reflecting orange in the darkness beyond. Lions, wolves, cave bears, all the things that own the night for every generation before this one. They pace at the edge. They wait, but they do not come closer. Because fire is the one thing every predator on Earth fears instinctively. It has no natural enemy. It cannot be fought. It can only be fled. And the humans sitting around that fire know this, not intellectually. In their bodies. In the way their shoulders drop for the first time after dark. In the way their breathing slows. In the way someone laughs. Maybe the first laugh ever laughed in darkness. Because the night is no longer something to survive. It is something to live in. That fire did not just keep them warm. It gave them the night. And with the night came time. Time to talk. Time to think. Time to tell stories. Time to look at the stars and wonder what they were. Every conversation, every story, every idea that has ever been thought by a human being after dark exists because someone, somewhere in Ice Age Europe or ancient Africa, carried a burning branch home and refused to let it go out. We did not discover fire. Fire discovered us. It found the one species curious enough, desperate enough, and stubborn enough to pick it up and carry it home. And from that night forward, we were never the same. The world before fire lasted hundreds of thousands of years. The world after fire, art, language, culture, civilization, everything you have ever known, has lasted 50,000. That is what one burning branch did. That is what one moment of curiosity cost the darkness forever.